Complete bike protection is something you wish you had the instant you needed it. But not all products to keep your bike rideable after a crash are the same. In this video, we'll take a closer look at what's important and what isn't. Hi, this is Mark Cook with Twisted Throttle. If you're new here, check out our website at the link below and you can shop for accessories made to fit your model. While you're here, give us a like on the video and subscribe to our channel for updates on future product, as well as more motorcycle content. Now, like I mentioned earlier, getting real protection for your adventure bike is not a matter of hardening it for any eventuality, like some kind of zombie apocalypse machine. In fact, you really should be thinking in terms of making your motorcycle durable enough to survive minor crashes in good enough shape to continue the trip. The idea of making it last through a tumble down a 200-foot ravine really isn't very realistic. Now let's start with the basic protection for the critical pieces like the engine. Now, engine crash bars serve several purposes, including keeping the engine itself off the ground. Obviously, any damage to the engine cases is a bad deal, unless you're particularly good with JB weld, which is inconvenient. A well-designed crash bar will also keep some or all of the bodywork off the ground, which is good cosmetically and functionally. Think about it, a scratch gas tank is one thing. A gas tank with a hole in the side isn't much of a gas tank. Crash bars are typically made from one of three materials: aluminum, stainless steel, and mild steel. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages to all three. Now, aluminum is very light, but not nearly as strong as either of the steels. Plus, it's harder to work with for the manufacturer and can be more expensive. But it doesn't rust, and for that matter, neither does stainless steel, which is why riders who do a lot of water crossings or live in corrosive environments like that particular material. But it can be harder to manufacture and inflexible enough to be considered brittle. Why is that important? One thing you want to consider is a crash bar has to bend a little. That bending takes some of the load that might go into the bike frame or engine mounts. That also allows the tubes to flex before they give. Now, a brittle material might flex some and then let go all at once. Also, brittle materials are subject to cracking from engine vibration. Of course, you know a crash bar with a broken weld isn't very effective. And this is why mild steel has been so popular. It's inexpensive, it's easy to work with, and it can be made to flex just enough to save itself and the bike under it. Of course, there's a disadvantage. Mild steel rusts. And that's why sw-motech, for example, treats steel crash bars with a corrosion preventative before a durable powder coat is applied. But there's really no perfect solution. If you break through the powder coat and expose the raw steel, it will eventually rust. Okay, let's talk about tube diameter. As counterintuitive as this may seem, the larger tube isn't always better. Designers are always striving to find the best balance between tube diameter and wall thickness to create the strongest cage that weighs the least. Now, a large diameter tube can be stronger for any given wall thickness, but it also exposes more surface area to knocks and dings. And once a relatively thin wall tube is dented, it begins to lose strength very rapidly. So one case votes for small diameter thick tube, and one argues for just the opposite. And that's partly why you get a lot of variation from manufacturer to manufacturer. Any protective part is only as good as the mounting brackets, and they're only as good as the mounting points on which they're installed. So massive mounting brackets really aren't the best thing. Sometimes that's too rigid and can cause even more damage to the bike by transferring forces to the bike and the frame itself. Okay, here's some last things to consider. Look for designs that allow full access to any common maintenance items. You don't want to have to pull a crash bar for regular wrenching work. Also, think about, can you remove any of the common body panels without taking the crash bars loose? That's really important. And what about cornering or ground clearance? Now, obviously you don't want to give up either of these if you can help it, but a well-designed crash bar can be made to cling tightly to the bike as possible without compromising its function. So that's it. Oh, and speaking of the zombie apocalypse, let us know in the comments below which platform you think will make the best escape vehicle. No fair saying KLR 650, that's already been done. So hit us with your best shot, we'll see you on the road.